Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Krysan here with you on this Friday morning edition of Sports Shorts Daily, presented by Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, where TK is joining us right now with Mike Tremonti and over there, getting all your crawfish, getting all your meats cut up, ready to go for the weekend. And we're also presented, I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, big month and a half coming up. I mean, we got the Hall of Fame golf tournament. We've got 2 teams left or 8 individual spots. All you got to do is go to lasportshall.com. We got a Hall of Fame golf tournament this coming Tuesday in Alexandria at the gorgeous Oak Wing Country Club, a David Toms design course. It's in the fantastic shape. We'll have a party that Monday night. Todd Walker, myself, the Buzz Man. We're going to do he's going to be there Monday night at the party. We're going to do a little panel discussion, if you will, talking a little LSU baseball for 5 minutes or so at the event, and we'll introduce you to all the celebs. But that's Monday night, golf on Tuesday. That is in Alexandria at Oak Wing Country Club coming up. Hope to see you there. Go to lasportshall.com. And, of course, induction ceremony in the end of June. Big things going on with that. You get all the info at lasportshall.com. And, of course, we're presented by
Ronnie, we got Byron Painter chiming in to say he's watching from 32,000 feet. So he's up in the air in a plane somewhere checking us out. Byron says you got to love technology. And if you're watching Sports Shorts Daily at 32,000 feet, he might be the first one to ever watch us at 32,000 feet. I mean, your mom's watched us all over the world, but we got to give Byron props there.
Yeah. Shout out to Byron Painter, Alexandria's own. I love that. Whatever airline that is, Byron, let us know, because I've flown on some airlines with a Wi-Fi ain't always right, if you know what I mean. We're, of course, presented by LeBear's Casino, where we'll be tomorrow from 10 to noon at LeBear's for Sports Shorts Radio. 10 to noon, myself, Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan, Joel Davis will join us. Special guests will join us via phone. That'll be tomorrow morning. We'll be in the sports book. So we'll give you the lines on the LSU-Alabama baseball game. I get a little cringy when I talk about the lines on the LSU-Alabama baseball series, because it was this time a year ago when LSU took on Alabama in a 3-game series. That series was more like the middle of the SEC season, when their coach got busted when he realized that Holman, who was his ace back then last year, LSU's one of its top pitchers this year, when he realized Holman couldn't go on the opening game of that series because he had a stiff back, he tipped off one of his big boosters, one of his big donors, who's also a degenerate gambler. And there's text messages and maybe even a phone call, text messages exchanged between them. And that guy used that information, showed the information on his phone at the window where he was trying to place the bets in Ohio. And anyway, one thing led to another, and he's out of baseball, not even coaching anymore. He's actually a medical sales rep in Iowa. Alabama's baseball coach last year, completely out of the game. He's a medical sales rep in Iowa, thanks to Holman's dad, who's in that business, by the way. They were a family friend, and he got him to help get him the gig. But the long and the short is what a difference a year makes. Holman's now a Tiger. The whole coaching staff at Alabama is gone. And you got to whisper when you say what the line is between LSU and Alabama this weekend, Tommy.
Yeah, that's a story that is coming back up this week, obviously, for obvious reasons. So unfortunate for him. And, we've seen a lot of things, since this gambling thing exploded. By the way, Byron's on Delta Airlines. We've seen a lot of things in a lot of sports, where these casinos are finding the bets, the NBA player, it's almost like they have an entire, force of people, staff, that are checking this kind of stuff. And when a couple $100,000 bets come in on an LSU Alabama Friday night baseball game in April, whenever it was last year, that sends up the flag and it gets looked at. Keishawn Butte, the flag went up with all of his stuff. I mean, it's, it should be a word to people that, hey, you can get caught. You might get caught. It's just like we all drive 90 down the highway someday. You might get caught. Maybe we don't. But this whole gambling thing has really become like almost a secondary story in all sports. You there, Ryan? Hey, don't forget everything you need for the weekend at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. We got crawfish, boiled crawfish, live crawfish, all the meat, seafood, the wine, the bourbon behind me, everything you need. And they do catering. They've had a lot of catering jobs this week. They can have a crawfish boil for you. They can feed the office and the staff. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood on Jefferson Highway, just a couple of blocks down from Parkview Baptist School. Check them out. You'll be glad you did. The catering. Everything you need that right here with Mike and his staff at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood.
All right, so the Tigers kept, back on the bump this weekend. There was an article that came out about Larson, the outstanding freshman outfielder in the Advocate, young man from Overland Park, Kansas, which is the Scottsdale to Phoenix of Kansas City, and a real nice part of Kansas City. And it's also the future home of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. They're actually going to probably move in there and sometime in 25 into an existing museum and then just kind of take up a wing of it. But so Overland Park, Kansas, definitely for the folks that are going to Omaha in the future or whatever, LSU fans, you figure out a way to detour through Kansas City and go check it out. But this kid just kind of came on the scene, Tommy. Nobody really talking about Larson before the year. Yeah, sure, the coaches are familiar with him. They know he's a big-time recruit. They know he was a really good player, and a lot of schools wanted him. But he wasn't being talked about as being impactful this year from a standpoint of starting or anything like that. Probably just like a lot of freshmen, just hoping to get their sea legs and get some opportunity and get some experience so that next year when, play people like Bingham leave, or maybe a Pearson might have got drafted. This is all preseason kind of conversation. Kling was even draft eligible, so like going into the season, nobody knew that Kling was going to struggle. Nobody knew that Pearson was going to have sort of a mediocre year like he did last year. We thought he'd be more like he was his freshman year. Bingham's out of eligibility. So you potentially could have lost your entire outfield on paper before the season. And, so now you're just trying to get freshmen like Fry or Fry's a sophomore, but people like Larson and Brown, who are freshmen, experience, and then maybe next year's their time. Well, he knocked that timeline down and has been sensational. He'll be a freshman All-American. He'll be an All-SEC performer. He might even be the SEC Freshman of the Year. Who knows from a position standpoint? But the bottom line is that Larson, the article about him, what a good young man he is, a big-time Christian guy. Didn't know this, but, when he goes up to each at-bat, he does a little thing in the dirt right before he walks out of the dugout in honor of a teammate of his that he played summer ball with a couple years ago that died, and a couple of family member and a friend who had leukemia or cancer, overcame it both, but still just somebody who thinks about others. And he said it also sort of relaxes him. It takes his mind away for that moment. And you can see that, the latest thing in sports in the last couple of years has been about breathing. You see guys a lot of times in the major leagues, go up to bat and they take that big, before they step in the box. And you'll see a lot of LSU players do that. That's something that has really become in vogue in the last 2-3 years, is to breathe and control your breathing and all that, how it can sort of slow you down, your heart rate down a little bit, help you not be as nervous or help you focus or whatever. He's one of those guys. He looks very steady Eddie, and it's a really good article about him. But, as everybody's focused on, Jump and Holman, and everybody's focused on the big boppers and Travinsky and White and Jones and all that, there's Larson, just kind of steady Eddie guy, who's just all of a sudden a giant piece to this puzzle, and who knows what the future's like for this young man.
Well, the guys who have the most success in baseball can be steady Eddie, no matter what position you play. But what I see in Larson is the message we should give to every high school and college baseball player who's not a starter. Because there's more guys on the bench than there are starters in high school and in college, okay? Be ready when your name is called. When they put you in the lineup, like they put Larson in early this year, don't give them a reason to take you out, or make it where the coach can't take you out because you're producing, you're doing what you take, you're having a good at bat, you're doing what it takes. So that's a message to everybody that sits the bench in high school and college. I don't care what level college. Be ready physically and mentally when your name gets called, and then they won't be able. Don't let them be able to take you out. And if more people would take that attitude coming off the bench, or you don't play for a while, all of a sudden the coach puts you in, even if he starts you or if he puts you in, the pinch hit, pinch run, wherever it might be ready.
Yeah, the thing that I always look for out of hitters, particularly new hitters, young hitters, to see how they're going to do, Tommy, is the strike zone recognition. Do they swing at strikes, or are they chasing balls out of the zone up or down or out? Like, what does their zone look like? Because if you swing at strikes and you understand that this ball is off the plate or that ball's down, you're going to be a good hitter. Law of averages just say, I mean, you obviously got the hand-eye coordination. You wouldn't be playing at that level and everything if you weren't. But, like, that is the key for me to, all right, if they are swinging at strikes, their percentage of success goes up by 50 points, I think. I really believe that. And he's one of those guys who does that. You know who does it at this point in their life, in their career? And that's Kling. Kling is a guy who doesn't have good plate recognition. He's chased balls. We've seen him chase balls 2-3 feet outside at times this year, not even be close to pitches. And so he's still got to improve on that. Now, when he does, the sky's the limit with his physical abilities. But he's a guy that has to work on that. A guy who also doesn't do a great job is Tommy White. But somehow when Tommy White gets to 2 strikes, he's one of the better 2-strike guys around, and not so much lately. I feel like he's been pressing a little bit. He's been really expanding the zone more than normal with 2 strikes over the last 2-3 weeks. I mean, we've seen him really chase some balls up. He's super aggressive early in the count and will swing a lot of stuff. But then when he gets 2 strikes, he spreads out even more, and he just has that dexterity, Tommy, even when he doesn't swing at strikes, to find the bat on the ball. And obviously that's what's going to make him probably a first-round draft pick hitter. But the Larson kid, what a great story. What a great young man. And the good news is Tiger fans are going to have him for 3 years. And he's probably going to be a 3-year starter, and he'll go down like a Trey Morgan or something like that as far as 3-year starter and great numbers and great career. But first off, the Tigers on paper this series have the advantage on the mound, Tommy, but not necessarily the case offensively.
Yeah, pitching staff numbers are better for LSU than Bama, but a lot better hitting numbers for Alabama than LSU. And Bama's, they're 10-14 in the SEC, but they've won 30 games, and they're tough at home. They're 20-7 at home, so they're good over there in Tuscaloosa. It's going to be a challenge for LSU, and we've been saying this for weeks, going back to Missouri and Auburn. LSU, I mean, minimum 2 out of 3. Getting 3 out of 3 would be good, but I don't know. Like I said, Bama's won 2 in a row. Beat Mississippi State, who might be playing as well as everybody in the country right now. Last Sunday, they lost the first 2 games, but they won the 3rd game in that series. And then they beat Troy by 1 run the other night. So they're going to be feeling good. And, the whole Holman story. And, I mean, there's a lot of stories going on here. Holman will throw Saturday for LSU. And, of course, the Bama players know him. He knows them. It's going to be a wild and crazy weekend, but one in which LSU has got to find a way to win 2 out of 3, if not all 3.
Jump and Holman. Jump has about a run. Both between Jump and Holman, they have about a 1 to 2 run advantage in earned run average against the Alabama starters. Sunday, Alabama has a starter with an ERA over 6. LSU has not listed a starter. So the bottom line is that on paper, the starting pitching for LSU is better than the starting pitcher of Alabama. That's just on paper. But Alabama's hitting over 300 as a team. They're 3rd in the SEC in batting average. So, and LSU's not. LSU is and trending better, trending positive, but they're not in the top half of the league in batting average. So, Alabama at home, as Tommy's pointed out, most people at home much better, very good at home. But offensively, that's can LSU go and pitch? They're trending in the right direction. Look, Guidry's not going to be available to pitch probably Friday or Saturday. I would think he might be available on Sunday. He just had his best outing of his career, 4 innings, and was super dominant against, albeit against Northwestern State. They needed every bit of it to win that game. Ulloa has been a really nice surprise. Came out of nowhere in the last week and a half. So Yo is a guy who's trending in the right direction. We know Griffin Herring is one of the better pitchers in the SEC. Jump and Holman have been solid. Holman's probably walked more guys than you would have thought, particularly last time out. He walked 5, but he a couple times left the bases loaded and worked out of it. So the LSU pitching staff, Christian Little, my God, Tommy. Christian Little, where did that come from last week against Texas A&M? Goes 3 2/3, 1 out away from a 4-inning save. Christian Little, I think, earned himself some pretty good money on Saturday. There were a lot of cross-checkers and big-time scouts at that A&M LSU series, particularly on Saturday with Holman pitching. And, Christian Little, not that he moved himself up in some high round, but I always said this about Christian Little. I say this about Moffitt. I say this about Cam Johnson and others on this team. They're going to pitch in the major leagues. I'm not saying they're going to be 10-year major leaguers, but they're going to get up there. The question is, will they figure it out and put it all together while they still have LSU eligibility left, or will it be when they're 24 years old? And Christian Little took a giant step towards, hey, this guy ain't done. He throws 95 to 97 miles an hour. He's healthy. He's pitched in the SEC. Yeah, he hasn't had a lot of success. But what he did against A&M with the right people in the stands, and he's throwing 95 plus at 4 innings in, he made him some money. He got drafted.
Well, and Ronnie,
he's going to get drafted, but he got drafted.
His freshman year at Vanderbilt, he was one of the best pitchers in the country. And they had some other good pitchers on that staff, so he didn't get noticed. But, he had freshman All-American, and took them by surprise. But I agree with you that talent's there. Now, can it emerge as LSU fights through this final 2 series and then the tournament in Hoover? And, Ronnie, as of yesterday, LSU was out of the NCAA tournament. They were considered one of the first 4 out, which means they're on the bubble. It means what happens around the rest of the country will impact LSU unless they can sweep Bama, sweep Ole Miss. Then they'd be in the SEC. In the NCAA tournament, they'll be in the SEC.
And not sweep, just win the series. They just have to win the series. They don't have to sweep.
If they win both of them, and if anything above that, it's just gravy. So, we'll have to see how that goes. It's very, very important stuff for LSU. They need Gage, Jump, and the offense to set the tone tonight.
Yeah. All right. Looking forward to it. What time?
6 o'clock Friday, 4 o'clock Saturday, 1 o'clock Sunday, all streaming, no linear network there. So you can get it on the app, get it on the phone, get it up on the airplane and Delta Airlines, whatever you need to do. So like Byron did. So, yeah, now other big news, LSU softball knocked off the 1 seed in the SEC tournament, Tennessee, yesterday. They will play the winner of Arkansas and Missouri today in an SEC tournament semifinal game. Missouri and Arkansas finished, they may be finished now. They started at 9 a.m. to finish a weather-delayed game last night that was suspended. So their semifinals later today. The championship for SEC softball is tomorrow afternoon.
Single elimination, right? I believe is the SEC softball tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what LSU. That's what the SEC baseball tournament is going to be next year and beyond. It's going to be single elimination. Every single team is going to be in the SEC tournament in 2025. Every single team from the league, which is 16 teams after Oklahoma and Texas join, every team will play in the SEC tournament, but they will be single elimination. And there's a chance that I think if you win your division, if you're a top 2 or maybe you don't play till Friday, something like it. This tournament's going to start Tuesday, but you can get a bye all the way to Friday or something like that if you're if you win the division. So it's going to be a different format. I like it because it allows everybody in the league a chance, because let's face it, everybody in the SEC really deserves a chance to get to an NCAA regional. Auburn and Missouri, who are the worst 2 teams in the league, would win a lot of conferences out there, right? So by doing that, even though it's a long shot chance, you give everybody a chance if you put them in the SEC tournament. The other thing is all those teams that potentially are on the bubble, you don't have to say, well, they didn't make their SEC tournament. Everybody's in the SEC tournament. Everybody has a chance to win the tournament and to go punch their own ticket. And And you get 16 schools, 16 fan bases in theory coming to Hoover, so it's going to be a bigger event than even it is now. So I look because it's 12 right now. It's 12 right now. 12 teams qualify.
And they're actually, I read somewhere a few weeks back, they're talking about maybe moving that tournament around. It might not be in Hoover every year forever.
Wouldn't hate that.
Yeah. Talking about in the Dallas, the Dallas area with Oklahoma and Texas coming into the league, put it over in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or, and then just increase that footprint of the SEC. Right. I wouldn't be surprised to see it in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's in the not too far away future.
Yeah, definitely. I don't hate a rotate for sure. I mean, you're going from Austin, Texas, all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, you should move it around a little bit, out of fairness. All right, TK. And what else we got?
That's about it, man. NBA playoff chugging along. Got some suspensions, and the Knicks Pacers saying they turned in 78 calls on video that they think were wrong in the first two games that they've lost in the series. And then the coach is in big trouble. He played the small market, big market line, that they're the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks. And, the NBA don't want that small market, big market line to get flying out there. So he's going to have a big old fine for that. Probably not announced till whenever they're done playing. But NBA playoffs, it's hard for anybody to get into them. A lot of coaches have been fired. Phoenix fired Vogel after 1 year. The Lakers fired Darvin Ham. I mean, it's just the NBA is a mess.
Look, you got to pay me a lot of money. You got to pay these guys a lot of money to coach, because now there is no patience. I mean, guys get fired after 1 year all the time in all sports. College now, not as much as college yet, but if you're going to get fired and you're going to get that stink and you're going to get that stigma and deemed a failure or whatever, you got to pay these guys, man. I mean, you got to pay them. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't care what sport, where you are, to fire a guy after 1 year, unless they're doing something egregious, but I feel bad for my boy Sean Norris, my buddy who's from New Orleans, who's got a condo in Phoenix, and he's he's a Pels fan. He works for Hub. They got the Hub Club and the Smoothie King Center. That was his doing years and years ago. But he's a Phoenix Suns fan too, because obviously he's out there a lot. And he had met Vogel and had a connection to be buddies with him. Vogel hooked him up with some awesome tickets and all anytime he wanted, and now out. So now my buddy Sean's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. My guy Vogel's out. But anyway, look, the Knicks winning and being relevant is good for the NBA. No question about it. It's good. It's like I said, it goes back to, it's like the Rams are good for the NFL when they're good. It's like the Kentucky Wildcats is good for NCAA basketball, or North Carolina when they're good. Big market, blue blood, all that kind of stuff. People care more. People are interested more. And, of course, the biggest market in the world, the biggest market in the United States, in New York City, when they're relevant and people are excited, that's good for the NBA. TK,
Ronnie, one last thing we want to get to. We're 20 days away from the Baton Rouge Rougarou. Thursday night, May 30th, hosting the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators, who are the new team in the Texas Collegiate League. There are now 6 teams in the Texas Collegiate League, 3 in Louisiana, 3 in Texas. Get your tickets now. brrougarou.com. Merchandise, some great new hats. I had this big golf tournament earlier this week, which was tremendous to see so many people and so many businesses behind the Rougarou. Now we need the fans to start making those plans. The schedule's at brrougarou.com. Starts on Thursday the 30th, and there'll be 24 games jam-packed in between then and some playoffs in August. That's the goal. Out at Pete Goldsby Field in Baton Rouge. That field's looking great. I was out there a couple weeks ago. brrougarou.com. Just take it from there.
3 weeks from yesterday, Tommy. Oof, here we go. It's going to be on us. All right, folks, thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily. Please like and share this video. I'm going to let Tommy tell you about Tremonti's on the way out. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, Sports Shorts Radio, 10 to noon. Tune in on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. You can download the app and listen anywhere in the country. TK, tell us about Tremonti's.
All right, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. They got ball crawfish, live crawfish all weekend, today, tomorrow. Mike and the staff. A lot of catering jobs this week. Yeah, check them out for the catering. Stop by and talk about it, or give them a call. The number's on your screen. Tremendous wine selection, bourbon, vodka, tequila, whatever you want. You got a whole lot of stuff here. I tell people this all the time. If you have not been in Tremonti's, you need to do that. You need to come see all the things they have here on Jefferson Highway, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. It's Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Mike and Wayne and Tony and staff do a heck of a job. Hey, have a great Friday. Don't forget tomorrow morning, Sports Shorts Radio. We'll be live and in color from the sportsbook at the LeBears Casino. Come on out and say hello. And here, this is the other thing today, as we always say, like and share this show. It's free to watch this show. The way we want you to help us when you watch it is like and share. Hit the like button, hit the share button, tell everybody about it. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings at 9 o'clock. So anyway, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning on the radio.